Alrighty. Here we are again, y'all. Here we are again. Let me go ahead and pull up my little monitor here and make sure all is well in the 100-acre woods. Isn't it funny how time is like a cycle, dude? We start off 7 years ago talking about Owen Benjamin, and now 7 years later, we're still here talking about the same guy, dude. Does he ever go away? Does he ever go away? This might be a real bad idea, y'all. I don't know about this, but I didn't want to watch it, and yet here we are, dude. Here we are. So we will see. We will see how this goes. But for now, y'all, we're going to kick it off with the intro song. Thank you all so much for being here. Please like and share. I will be right back in just a moment. Enjoy the sounds of Tide 2048. See y'all in a minute. And we're live, dude. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Exposing Powerful Lies. We are back. Gosh, dude, we've managed to go quite a few years without talking about Owen Benjamin, but you know what? I figured when I saw this interview pop up, I went, okay, as much as I don't want to watch this is probably going to make for good content, so I guess we're going to have to do it. And who knows, maybe it's not going to be cringe, dude. Maybe it's going to be a very wholesome, good conversation, lots of bits of wisdom shared. You never know. You never know. And we hope for the best, okay? We hope for the best, but, well, let's just say we have not been rewarded for hoping for the best when it comes to Owen for quite a long time. One of the biggest shows we ever did was the Owen Benjamin Jim Bob debate review. Gosh, dude, I don't even know how long ago that was. Quite a long time ago. We've been doing this for 7 years now, and a little bit of a history lesson for those of you who don't know, but believe it or not, 7, 8 years ago, I first actually saw Jim Bob in a live chat at Owen Benjamin's stream. Because before I was Orthodox, before I was a Christian, before I was involved in Jay Dyer's channel or anybody else's channel, I was in the live chats with Owen Benjamin, watching his streams when he first hit the scene. Oh, guy talking about conspiracies and stuff, cool. And I actually saw a lot of our homies today who are around in the orthosphere were in the Owen Benjamin chat. So that's the first place I ever saw Jim Bob. And it was actually talking to Owen about Jay that made me go, oh, wow, this Owen guy's kind of a jerk. Like, this guy's actually kind of a dick, dude. I had discovered Jay's content about Christianity, and I was interested in learning more about the Bible and interesting about learning more about Christianity. And I discovered Jay's content, and I remember thinking, wow, this is really cool. I'm learning a lot. And I went into Owen's stream, and I had mentioned, I said, Owen, what do you think about Jay Dyer? And he pulled up my message, and he's like, oh, that guy's a freaking gamma, bro. That guy's gay, blah, blah, blah. And he started going off. And I was like, Owen, you are constantly promoting Crow 777, who is like an occultist and whatnot, and you, Owen, say you're a Christian, and here you are talking all this smack about this guy who like provides a bunch of really interesting educational content about Christianity, seems like a sincere guy, and you hate his guts and are like going on this whole tirade against him, and yet you love this occult dude? Like what's going on here? And his whole chat erupted in vitriol against Dyer. And they were all talking about how awful Dyer was and how he's a gamma and a cuck and all this stuff. And I remember thinking, wow, dude, this is like really weird. And it wasn't long after that that I had started watching more of Jay's stuff. And the rest, as you know, is history, man. We've been at this for a long time. We put in our work, dude. We paid our dues. We helped build up this freaking beautiful little house called the Orthosphere. We tried our best to be good friends to people, to be supportive, and I, for one, am very proud of the work that I've, put in over the years. I have a whole catalog of content from all those crazy controversies, drama, events, and, so I've always done this channel as a hobby, just because it's fun. It's a creative outlet for me. I enjoy doing it, and I've made a lot of great friends along the way. And not just the big channels that we all love, but even just the people in the live chats. And I have an inbox full of hundreds of messages from people who have told me, thank you, Jerry. Your channel and your work has helped me enter the church. It's because of you that I went and became a catechumen, etc., etc. So today, when I made my little post, I had this guy make a comment. And he did the grossest thing you can do, which is say some like really hurtful, mean-spirited, snide little ankle-bitey comment, and then say, "I'm saying it out of love, brother. My brother bear, my fellow co-struggler in Christ. I'm saying it as a friend," and just say some like really, like hurtful, nasty things. Said that we have zero audience. He says you have effectively zero audience. Really? Because last time I checked, I have over 2,000 subscribers that I've built up over years. And apparently there's nobody in the chat right now, and there's nobody watching right now, and there's not going to be hundreds of people that watch it after the show's gone live. Could have fooled me. I didn't know. But, this is what happens. We get people that come in. They're new. They don't know who I am. They don't know any of the history of this little YouTube sphere that we have. And they just want to be jerks, and they want to hold the little Orthodox sign up and be like, I'm being a jerk, but I'm Orthodox, so it's all good, bro. Whatever. It kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, y'all. Anyways, I don't know what else to say about that other than just not trying to be a celebrity, dude. Just trying to have fun, make fun videos, make friends. My priest knows about my channel. My bishop knows about my channel. And I'm just curious, the people who want to go around and be jerks to people, does your priest know about your online activity? Do you have a blessing to do that? I wonder. Anyways, y'all, let's get to the bulk of the show today. Today we are doing Owen Benjamin Tucker Carlson. Now, what's his name? This guy, Sean, homeboy Sean, he says, I was so disappointed when I saw Benjamin on Tucker. Just disappointed in us all. I know, man. And, we're going to get to it. I was also disappointed when I saw the thumbnail pop up. I was like, Tucker, no, what are you doing? You know, Tucker is such an interesting character, man. Half the time he'll do shows and I'm like, yes, 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 let's go. The other half I'm just like head in my hands, shaking my head like, what is going on here? We've tried to explain, forgive, we're on the porch. We've tried to explain that I think a large part of the problem with the lack of discernment just comes from the Protestant paradigm and the fact that it doesn't prepare you or give you the tools to be able to spot the things which are contradictory to Christianity, right? They just don't have enough of the tools. And I've put a lot of effort in trying to reach like Protestant family members, people in real life, just with a loving, kind message. And one thing I've learned over the years is that I have noticed that you can say something and it often will get misinterpreted or misunderstood because we all have such different lenses that we see things through, if you know what I mean. And so I'll go out there and I'll try to, present, points that most Protestants aren't aware of, right? Try to point out, hey, church history, hey, check this out. Hey, you can go read the early church fathers and you know what you're not going to find in the early church fathers? Protestantism. Not going to find it anywhere. Didn't exist. You know what I mean? But a lot of the Protestants that I'm sure you've also can agree, people in the chat, a lot of the Protestants maybe in your life, when they hear sort of the objections from Orthodox, I think a lot of them in their mind go, well, what about my grandma? Or what about my buddy? Or what about that nice pastor guy I know? I know that those are nice people. And so this can't be right. Because it's almost like they think that we're saying there are no nice people in the Protestant church. There are no good-hearted people in the and that's not what we're saying, right? We're simply talking about like where is the fullness of the truth, right? And so I'm constantly trying to sort of adjust my rhetoric, adjust my approach when talking with family and stuff, because I never want to give people the wrong impression, right? And I never want them to push them away from orthodoxy. And the longer that you're orthodox, the quieter you get, the more silence that you end up taking on. I mean, you can notice it just with my channel, right? I mean, we were pumping out videos left and right when I was first Orthodox, and now that it's years and years in, and we're really going hard with just our own personal spiritual struggle. So often I'll say, "Oh, I want to comment on this subject. Ooh, I want to do a video on this subject." Nah, I should probably just keep my mouth shut. And so that's a good thing that tends to happen over the spiritual life of any struggler in Christ is that you just learn to shut up, sit down, stay quiet, and speak only when you have the words to really help it out.
Owen Benjamin, thank you for doing this. Thank you for coming all this way. I've interviewed, I don't know how many people who've been canceled. I had a whole franchise interviewing people who've been canceled.
Now, I have not watched this yet. I don't know if Jim Bob has covered this. This seems like the kind of thing that Jim Bob would cover, right? And so you guys can let me know if any of our homies has done this watch along yet. I have not seen it. I don't know how this is going to go. What I assume, because I saw Tucker post a picture with him, Owen, and his brother Bo, or Buck, or whatever, Uncle Buck. And so what I assume is that Uncle Buck is a fan of Benjamin's and was like, Tucky, you gotta have him on. So I assume that was probably the genesis of this show. I guess we will find out. I kind of half suspected this was going to be a 3-person interview with both Tucker and Buck, and then Owen. So color me shocked that that's not what we're already seeing. Before we get started, please like and share, everybody. Thank you all so much for being here. What else? If you like the show, you want to support, you can support through Super Chats, Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. All Super Chats will be read live. That's pretty much it, y'all. Shouts out to Mela. Good to see you, Mela, as always. Good to see you, Jethro. As always, good to see you. Clontarf says, I'll be back. Keep on streaming, Jerry. Thank you, Clontarf. I'm glad somebody appreciates me, okay? I'm not going to lie, dude. Like, when you're a YouTuber, you know what I mean? You try not to let, like, comments bother you. You know what I mean? You try not to let numbers bother you. You try not to let all these things. But it does hurt. Especially when you got some random stranger who's taking personal insults at you, who doesn't know anything about you at all. It's like, it's hard not to let that stuff sort of get to you.
kind of over it, except in your case, you have the most amazing cancellation story, both because you were, I think, really the first big name, the first blue check on Twitter to get kicked off Twitter, but also because of what happened after. So I know this is probably tedious for you, but it's, I think, really interesting for others. If you could just go through what happened, where you were in your life, how that life ended, and what happened next.
We're going to start on 1 time speed, normal speed, but we may have to kick it up to chipmunk speed if it becomes insufferable.
Yeah, and thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh.
This has been a blast.
Thank you. Me too.
So I was doing comedy in Los Angeles. Like, I started as a piano player. My dad sang opera. He taught rhetoric. You know, like just basically how to speak in a way that's interesting to people.
You were a piano player?
Yeah, I started when I was like 2 or 3 years old, and I still teach piano, like classical piano.
Wow. Not jazz piano.
Not jazz piano. No, that's unspeakable.
I wonder how much he charges for a piano lesson, dude. Is it through Zoom? Is it in person? Does he have like a bunch of old ladies coming to visit him to teach him piano?
I have a jazz friend who's really into jazz, and I'm like, why do you enjoy breaking the rules that make things beautiful? It's a funny relationship, but. And so, like, I think with that musical background, my mom taught children's literature. It like kind of.
So jazz is evil because it uses music theory and then breaks the rules to do something that's interesting. Like, this is like the sort of gravy logic of Owen Benjamin. Gravy, dude! There's this thing called music theory, and jazz breaks the rules. So I took jazz guitar lessons when I was a kid. You know, I'm a musician. And I loved jazz, dude. Loved it. I don't like to listen to it, but I love to play it. It's extremely fun to play jazz. And in order to play jazz, well, you have to learn music theory so that you can learn the rules to break the rules. It's an interesting and cool part of music. There's nothing inherently evil about jazz, but this is one of those things that it's like, as a commenter, it's just so cool and interesting. Oh, wow, gravy, bro. Gravy, bro. And this is so frustrating, dude. The whole YouTube thing is frustrating. It's why it's never been a goal of mine to be like some big YouTuber, because I learned very quickly as we started to get momentum, right? We were networking with a bunch of big channels, and we were freaking having guests on and doing all this stuff, and I started to see, okay, this is the kind of content that I can make that my audience wants to see. And when big events happen and big controversies happen, there becomes narratives that, you know, the bulk of people want to hear this message and want this message to sort of be reaffirmed and solidified. And I have proven myself over and over and over again to all of you that when these big events happen, that when a big controversy or drama erupts in the orthosphere, that you guys can come to me and that I will give you a balanced and nuanced and well thought out response and analysis that is not going to tell you what you want to hear, but is going to present both sides and say, look, this is what's going on here. This is what I honestly think. And I've proven that time and time again, whether it's any of these things that have happened. There have been so many opportunities over the last 7 years where, you know, one of our homies, right, that's in the orthosphere comes out and starts attacking Jay or one of our other friends, where I could have gotten a huge bump in numbers, gotten a huge bump in clout if I jumped on the bandwagon, but it wasn't true. And so I came out and I defended my friends. That's the value that I provide. That's what I provide. I don't need to explain it to my audience. I'm explaining it to that jerk in the comments, man.
Created a comedian in a way that's a craft. Like, I wasn't, you know, seeking fame or like, a lot of comedians can just be like kind of spilling everything on stage, like approve of me, you know, and I was all about just doing that craft properly. And so I incorporated music with it. I go to Los Angeles, I get on the show Punk'd. I do Comedy Central specials. Adam Sandler puts me in some movies. I become like one of the leads of a sitcom. Vince Vaughn, who I love, produced it, and we went on the road together. Like, I'm having a great time out there.
Okay, chipmunk speed, at least until he's done talking about his personal story. We gotta bump it up a little bit.
There
as a stand-up,
yeah, and an actor, like, but more based around my personality. Like, I'm not one of those I can be a French Prince guy, you know.
Yeah,
like, I can't be like, who am I today, you know. And so I'm having this life, and I never really thought about a lot of these issues. Like, I didn't think politics were.
Jethro says, how many times can Owen say like? Brother, you don't even know, man. You might want to keep a record because it's going to be a lot. Mela says, it's been a blast. It just started. Yeah, I'm sure he's talking about them having dinner and Tucker showing him around the cabin and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Mela says, Owen was incoherent throughout the entire interview and it was all me, 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 me. Well, you had to figure it was going to be that.
anything.
Like that.
You know, I just avoided all that. I just autistically focused on my craft.
You were not in your personal life, like talking about politics at dinner.
No, I was just trying to do my job as best as possible. Like I was very just job oriented, where I was just always creating and writing and trying to do the best joke. And then I saw what was happening in comedy, where, you know, the concept of a bad word, like a word carries like intention, right?
Yes.
Like that's insane. Like you can't put human consciousness in an object, right?
Yes.
Just like a gun kills people. No, a person kills people. You
Right.
can kill someone with a minivan filled with lollipops. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And so the idea that a word without intention is wrong, or that a group can't be made fun of, was so twisted, but I was just kind of rolling with it because comedy for me is a way to discharge stress.
Yes.
Like if you avoid a group, that's actually very cruel. You know?
Comedy's a pressure relief valve.
Yes. Yeah. Like people build up trauma in their life, and the joke allows you with the laughter to look at it and deal with it, right? Versus like I'm not a tear you down comedian. It might sound like it, but it's more like
he's not a tear
way to
you
help
down comedian. He's just a tear you down person. He's just, you know, the kind of person that likes to tear people down. But in his comedy, he's very uplifting. Right.
someone see something like
Yes.
relationship, like help them communicate or help all this stuff. And so I took it very seriously. Ironically, I took comedy very seriously, where I would try and help a couple, you know, by doing relationship jokes, and then they get along better. And then they, you know, I had this very loyal people because of that. You know, I was never like, I want to humiliate you, right?
Right.
And so when I was a heckler at a Renaissance festival in high school, that was my job.
What is it? What does that even mean?
I was the dude in the stocks, and I would make fun of people, and they'd pay to throw tomatoes at me.
Actually,
9 hours a day. Yeah, and a gypsy would take the money, and I
Let's bring it back, dude. That's a perfect job for Owen.
learned that you don't attack based on what I believe. It's where their pride is.
you were paid to be a heckler at a
Heckler.
Renaissance festival.
Yeah, like, you know what Renaissance fairs, you have like the prisoner in the stocks, and he's
Yes.
like just making fun of people, and that was me. That was like my job.
Did people actually hit you with tomatoes?
Yeah, but if I got him properly mentally, they couldn't aim properly. They'd throw into the ground. It was really interesting. And so like a really, really fat guy, you don't call fat. He doesn't care. It's like a guy
That's
like
so
me.
interesting, Owen. Tell us more, dude. Tell me more about the tomatoes. Can I hear more about the tomatoes, please? I missed the part where you would... How red were the tomatoes? Were they squishy? Tell me more.
Too many cookies because he has 4 kids. Like I'd spiral, right? It's like where the pride is.
I totally agree.
Yeah, like if someone made fun of me for my pants not being like designer enough, I'd be like, you're gay, right? Like I wouldn't even care. But like if they made fun of the things that I have like issues with, you know, and so I would look at people and
I
I
think
try to
that all the time.
I try to find their pride, right?
Yes.
And so that, even though I could be a little harsh, it was actually good for them. And so I'd get a bigger crowd than the joust. Like that was always my goal. You know, the joust, they'd have this joust going, and I'm like, I got to beat that joust. Because it became this show where like, because I wouldn't attack women, I just overly compliment women because that would be the way to get the guy.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you never attack a woman. It's like, oh, your wife is so beautiful. Like, are you at work all day? Right? And so she's having fun with the tomatoes. He has to get it, you know, and I do it to everyone so they knew it wasn't personal, right? And that's why I have to make fun of every identity. Like when they say you can't make fun of Black people or Jewish people, or whatever, I'm like, then I can't make fun of Muslims or Christians. Like I have to have everyone, or else I'm a
course.
mercenary. Yeah.
Because you believe in universal principles? Is
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, I can't show favoritism. And ironically, that's how I believe it's very cruel to do that. Like where it's, you know, like I would come up with like veteran jokes for my veteran friends, or like wheelchair jokes for my wheelchair. It's like, if not, they're like subhuman. It's like, oh, don't say anything to him. He can't handle it. Right? Like I would
Yes.
feel horrible if someone was like, imagine if all the guys were riffing and they're like, don't make fun of Owen. He's like very weak and dumb. And you're like, what? No, you can make fun of me. And so I'm from like the honor culture of like, you make fun of weakness and you get stronger and you build
Yes,
bonds. Yeah. So
I am too.
So I saw that happening in LA, and it was
One of the reasons why I thought to myself before doing this might be a bad idea, is because I was praying and hoping that this wouldn't just be boring. You know what I mean? Like, please be anything but boring. Let's hope, dude. I can't kick it up to 2x speed now.
Obama's second term. I think something happens second term when people
Agreed.
double down.
I agree.
Right?
I've noticed, yes.
Yeah, yeah. When they're just ghostwriting. And I'm like, at that point, you can either be like, this didn't turn out the way we thought, or they're like, they just tunnel vision and become insane. I
Yes.
saw that with the left in Hollywood then, right? And you can kind of see that happening now.
Yeah, kind of.
Right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, remember that whole Epstein thing, the war thing? And people are just like, no, this is even better. That was the Obama thing. When at first it was like, oh, this guy's going to stop racism and he's so peaceful, right? And then when that wasn't the thing, they'd be like, the word family is a slur, you know? And I saw that. But I was,
Even in your world, even among comics, you saw that?
yeah, I would see the same. Okay, like Sarah Silverman that became this like
Yes.
super intense. She used to have this hilarious joke. She goes, I saw the movie 300. It was how gay it was out of 10. Like funny, right?
Yeah, very.
Imagine her doing that. Like all of a sudden those people, like all those hardcore liberal types, they were once somewhat funny, and then boom, it was all gone. Everything's serious. Everything's about victim consciousness. And
Bro, he never changes the crap he talks about, dude. He was talking about this stuff freaking 8 years ago.
was like, What's funny about
Next, he's gonna start playing freaking Pink Floyd on the piano, dude. Like he literally talks the same crap over and over again. Did you guys see the cover for his book? I'm trying to think where I saw this. It was in relation to this interview. I think it might have been on the thumbnail or something. It was like how to slay a wizard with like a bear with an axe in his hand. It was the cringest book cover I've ever seen in my life, dude. I couldn't believe
And I
it.
saw this one special where this girl was just talking about like being raped, and she was like, I was raped, and people are laughing. She's like, don't laugh. I'm like, dude, this is nuts.
Slow
Right? Like, you want to give
boy, what's up, slow boy? Whiteboard, so good to see you, sister. I'm so glad you're here. She said I was listening to DPH fawn over Tesla. Oh no, is DPH live right now, dude? I was really hoping nobody was live right now. You know, it always hurts our live viewer numbers when one of our homies is going live. But I'm glad that you came over, and I'm glad that DPH is fawning over Tesla. That's wonderful. Now, are we talking about Nikola Tesla? I certainly hope that's what you're talking about. Sean says, someone in the comments said Owen looks nervous and I can't unsee it. Yeah, it's that existential dread that all non-Christians have, and I'm sure all of us can relate before we became Orthodox, is that certainly before you become a Christian in general and you're just living a secular life, even when things are going really good, even when you got a good job and you got money and you got all the things, there's just that deep down feeling inside that something is wrong, that something is bad, that something's not right. And it's that existential dread, and you can ignore it, and you can try to drink it away, and you can try to take drugs and keep yourself entertained and live a fast-paced life and keep running to try to run from the silence and the quiet. But every night you got to lay down and you got to close your eyes and you got to go to sleep, and in that silence and in that moment of darkness, when everything starts to quiet down and you approach that dreamscape, that void of sleep, that little death. You're just there with God, and you cannot ignore your own sinfulness and your own brokenness, and that is that uneasy feeling. That is that existential dread, and we misinterpret it. We think it's actually a fear of like, oh, I'm afraid of dying. I'm afraid of the unknown. But what it really is, it's the soul's recognition of your own brokenness and your own sinfulness, and the fact that like, this is not what you were made to be. This is not how you are supposed to be. You were made to be better. You have no reason not to be better, and it is only your fault through your willful mistakes that you have this death inside of you. And that is really the root of that fear of death, is that recognition that our soul has of our sins. And that's why when you become a Christian, it's so great, because not only do you identify the problem and you can point to it and say, there it is, here's the problem, but you have the solution. And not only do you have the solution, it isn't just like a nice thing you can tell yourself, which is again one of my main critiques of Protestantism, is that it's a nice thing that you can tell yourself, but it's actually true. Kind of important.
victims relief? You know,
Yes.
exactly. Like that's not helping victim. You know,
It's important to know that whatever you're going through is pretty common, because we're all
Exactly,
people.
exactly.
And so when someone is really distressed, it's helpful to say to that, or when you're really distressed, it's helpful for someone to say, you know, I've been through this. I know someone's been through it. Like, people go through this. Like, it's going to be fine or not. You're going to go to heaven in the end or whatever. But
Right.
to put their suffering in perspective is relief for them.
Slow Boy said, I usually try to ignore Owen. I usually try to ignore Owen, but since I'm not going to watch the Tucker episode, this is good enough. Exactly. Now, when I saw the thumbnail for this, I went, I'm not watching this. I'm not putting myself through this. And then I said, oh, yeah, I have a YouTube channel. This is going to be good content. Damn it. Okay, fine. I'll watch it. And I figured none of y'all probably watched it either. I'm sure we all had the same reaction. So we'll kick it up to 1.5 speed. We'll try to make fun of it. We'll try to have some humor and some levity about it. And hopefully it's not boring. That's the only thing I'm worried about.
That's what How to Slay a Wizard. It's like one of the main things is isolation. Like you're the only one thinking.
Yes.
Yeah. And so
Yes, dude. Okay, now we're getting to the book. This is what I really wanted to hear. Tell me about the book, dude. Tell me about How to Slay Wizards. I can't wait to hear Owen talk about the problem he's identified in the world. It's all these wizards out there, dude.
It is relief for them.
that's what How to Slay a Wizard. It's like one of the main things is isolation. Like you're the only one thinking.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that's the role of the comedian, is like, you know, like the fight between a man and a woman where she had a bad dream about you, right? Like stuff
Yes.
like that. You know, it's like they'll laugh.
Wait, that's happened to other people?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
You cheated on me in my dream.
I was laughing with like we're just going back and forth with Candace Owens about that. When everyone was freaking out about her dream, I'm like, did they not
Jesse said, how did that frickin' Goofy giant get on Tucker before JDZ, right, dude? Right? We need to freaking really boost that Dyer signal, dude. We got to get Dyer on Tucky. We got to get Dyer on freaking Rogan. And every time I see Tucker talking with one of these freaking people, like the people that we did the watch longs for before, whether it's Father Chad Rippiger or whether it's freaking Sean Stone, in my mind I'm like, oh, I so badly wish Jay could get on there. I so badly wish somebody with a solid knowledge of orthodoxy could get in the room with Tucker, not to beat him over the head with it, but just to present the problem of Protestantism, right? The problem of the inability of that framework, of that worldview, to contend with these evil things in the world, dude. Mela says, I forgot about wizards. Yeah, dude. We all were blissfully forgetting all of the nonsense that Owen spouts.
No, women have dreams and take them very seriously.
Yes, very.
That's every woman.
I know.
I have dreams about like spiders and clouds and stuff. Like they have like these specific dreams.
Oh, I know. And they carry over into the day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, like but then what happened with me, like when I took the jester hat off, and I'd never done that, because I was always seen as like the likable guy that you could parachute in with any culture and I'd fit in and make them laugh and stuff, was the trans kid.
I was always seen as that likable, handsome guy that everybody liked. Everybody always told me, guys, did I tell you this? Everybody in my life has always told me I'm just super likable, handsome. They said I was really smart too. They said, Jerry, dude, you're such a smart, charismatic, funny, good natured, friendly. You're just such a solid dude. I would never say that about myself, but everybody always says that about me. I can't help it.
Thing. Like that's when I snapped out of that whole thing, because I was always more like libertarian looking at gay stuff and, you know, even like abortion. I never really thought about it. I was
Yes.
just like, oh yeah, if somebody's like raped, like who are you to, you know, I just didn't
Force
think
them to
about
have
it.
a
Yeah,
baby,
because
yeah.
I never got anyone pregnant. I never thought about it. And I just couldn't believe that somebody would lie about that, right? Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
And so saying a kid is trans was like, I was like, it was like a nightmare. I was like, no, this is like a nightmare. Like a kid can't consent to anything, and trans implies sexuality. You know, I'm like, I play classical music and I own a pink shirt. Like, am I a girl? You know, right? So I'm like, so what exactly is a girl? I'm like, so you're talking about like sexuality in a way, right? Like you are a girl with female genitals now. And so as that started unfolding, I go to Twitter and I'm repped at CAA. You know, I'm like, I was like in those worlds. I was hosting, you know, award shows that honoring DiCaprio.
It's just so crazy, dude. The internet is so wild. Like the kinds of people that get popular, you know what I mean? The kinds of people that get big and just have absolutely like nothing good to say, man. Slowboy says he's a legend in his own mind. Can't stop the rehearsal of his only wins. Exactly, dude. It's crazy. And that's one of the things that's always sort of turned me off to YouTube. I remember 7 years ago, I was 6, 7 years ago, I was talking about YouTube with our homie Tristan, and he just said, dude, YouTube is so gay. And I was like, yeah, it really is, dude. YouTube is gay. I like doing it for a hobby, man. I like the shows we do. I have fun. But the things you got to do to get big on YouTube and the things you got to do if you want to keep growing the audience, it's so freaking gay. It's so cringe. You got to tell people what they want to hear, man. And that's like, I guess my whole channel is an experiment on like, what if I don't tell people what they want to hear? What if I just say what I think is true and don't lean in to the freaking, oh, I'll just talk about what my audience wants me to talk about, and I'll always tell them what they want to hear. I guess we're going to see, dude.
And like I was in that realm.
Yes. It's a pretty overwhelming time in history, certainly in this kind of challenge. Works and kind of stay true to the best.
I wasn't like a celebrity, but my picture was on the wall next to Chris Rock's. I was seen as like a strong craftsman at comedy. You know, I was writing sitcoms. I was a writer, and you know, and I was like, guys, this is actually like super evil. And I so publicly, I'm just like this one guy.
Guys, this is super
This
evil.
one guy that was on NPR. He was saying her about his like 5-year-old. And I started, and so he was like, people knew him and stuff. And I just started writing to him. I'm like publicly, I'm like, dude, you're totally abusing your kid, right? Like that's abuse. And then I just start going, I get tunnel vision, right? I'm just like, and so that started this whole thing I had. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I'd already left LA because I had.
For those who are blissfully ignorant of Owen, this is the reason why a lot of us were like aware of Owen and why we started watching his content was because it was like, oh, cool. Yeah, this like Hollywood guy, whoever he is like fighting against the trans nonsense. Awesome. If only we could go back in time. If only we could go back in time and just not give him the views.
a child and I wanted to be around family. My brother lived in Saranac Lake, and I knew I could do it there. I didn't need to be in a city. I didn't want to be in a place with dead people on the street. I'm like, and so I was still at CAA. I was still getting deals and working on stuff. But I'm sure you see the world differently when you actually live in real America.
Oh, totally different.
Like, oh man, like seeing like the vet that's actually fought the war and to see the people on the fentanyl. You know what I mean? It's like
it's a totally different experience.
It's like the Buddha first leaving the castle and seeing the, I literally felt that way. In Hollywood, you just don't see it. They're just like, and then you're like, dude. No, we need guns to like kill a coyote that just killed my chickens. Like, you don't know what a chicken is, do you?
No. It doesn't begin life as a nugget. No.
Dude, people don't know where onions come from. It's insane. Dude, don't even get me started. So anyway.
People don't know where onions come from? Is this true? is this a true thing about people? Nobody knows what an onion is or where an onion comes from? I haven't noticed that in my own life, but maybe just all the people in Idaho. Maybe all the people in Idaho around Owen just happen to be like, an onion? What's that, dude? Watching Owen talk really helps you to understand, like, confusion itself is such an evil thing, right? Just this inability to identify, this inability to discern is just like a fruit of evil. Unrepentant sin, the lack of the willingness to submit to God, and you just end up deluded, dude. Deluded and confused. Lord have mercy, dude.
So I'm there, and so this all starts happening, and I had like college tours booked. I was about to do UConn, and looking back, you're way overpaid for that stuff. Like, I now realize that it's funny money coming from strange places, but like, my agent at CAA was like, they just canceled, and the next one just canceled, and they said because I'm a man of hate, right? Because of the trans kid thing, and
on Twitter,
just from Twitter, yeah. And so then my agent drops me.
Your agent dropped you?
No, I was no longer.
Yeah, see, we might say that Owen's a man of hate, but not for that reason. It's because he doxes people. It's because he sends his rabid cult followers after people. It's because he attacks our friends. And he throws a temper tantrum every time somebody criticizes him or critiques him in any way. And then sends his audience to go attack them.
At CAA, my manager also dropped me. Everyone just starts alienating themselves from me.
How did they explain that?
But now that I think about it, maybe we're making progress, dude, because if you guys remember the last time that we did the Owen Benjamin stream, I was almost scared to do it because at that time, if you criticized Owen, oh my gosh, it's like kicking a hornet's nest, dude. They would all just come out the woodwork and just start tearing you up to pieces. And you're like, am I going to get doxxed? Am I going to end up getting swatted? And yet today, I did this stream, not a care in the world. So maybe all is right in the 100-acre woods. Maybe it's a new day. The sun is rising. Whew, it's a little bit nicer than it was.
Well, I will shout out my manager. He was the one guy that didn't moralize it. He was just like, buddy, I don't know what to do, man. Like, all these guys are calling me. I'm like, okay. Versus like, what you've done is just so evil. I'm like, bro, I've seen you do ketamine on a toilet. Like you're not going to judge me, man. And I'm like, kids are innocent. Like, I know children are innocent. Same with the abortion thing. As soon as my wife, her belly started growing, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, that's a life, man. Right?
Yes.
So all these things starts changing. And so I'm like, okay,
Wait, did you actually get a moral lecture from a CIA agent?
I got it from like all these people. Like people, I won't even say any names because I just like to avoid that stuff. But people are texting me like, what did you do? Because people in like writers' rooms and like high up circles are like basically saying like, Owen's out. Like it was like boom, boom, boom. Like people that I've been in their wedding where I had to wear a freaking yarmulke to be at the wedding are calling me a man of hate, right? And I'm like, guys.
So one thing I've noticed about Tucker's latest interviews is I've been getting more and more bored with them. Which, again, is like the worst thing ever, dude. Like, if you're gonna do a show, at least make it fun to watch. At least make it entertaining and not boring. And I've never thought that Tucker was boring. And the last, like, 3 times I've been watching his shows, I'm sort of like, man, you would think that this guy, who's been, like, a interviewer for so long, would know how to ask, like, interesting questions. Like, if you get somebody like this, like Owen on, like, half the people watching your video are going to be people that have already heard it all from him before. Like, can we get some new questions? Can we get something to talk about that isn't the thing you've talked about over and over and over again for 8 years?
It's me. And I thought it was this horrible misunderstanding. And so some people, I actually got a lot of support, even from a lot of like the neocon type. And so that's like, so that kind of tribe picked me up, like the Dennis Prager's and all those guys.
You must have felt like your life was falling apart. It was falling apart.
But the irony, though, and this is the theme of the whole thing, is I'm with my brother. I'm doing tree work. Like a veteran that had killed a lot of people was like, we called it treehab because he got off opiates, like doing hard work, like toiling as we were talking about. And my life is actually going great, but I still think it's going horrible. Right?
Yes.
Like I'm feeling, we just got a chicken. Like I can't believe like my son, like I'm looking at this miracle. Me and my wife are close, but yet I've lost everything. And that's such a spell. Right? Like think about it. Like think about people that have had horrible thoughts of like, like despair. I've lost everything, but it's like dollars, right? I know that sucks, but breath, taste, your love, like you've lost nothing. You know what I mean? And so the dead wood just started burning.
Just
And I didn't.
the feeding of the passions. Think of all the good feelies you can get. Think of all the good feelies life has to offer you, dude. Just think about it, dude.
Nowhere. Like I thought I was, dying on a hill, and all these people just came and supported, right? And I was like, wow. And so I still tour, and I start renting.
Bro, you're depressed? Have you tried getting drunk? Have you ever thought about, like, I don't know, trying to get drunk? Who could be depressed? There's so many passions.
Theaters. I'm like, I don't need anyone to book my theaters. I'm like, let's do this. And then they started all canceling.
Independent theaters.
So this is so it was like, oh, the free market. I was like, oh no, like I can sell out. I've never been accused of a misdemeanor, right? Like the trans kid thing, but the word had went out, like you got to start going at this dude's pocketbook. And so now I'm working more with the neocon types because they're willing.
Can I just ask you a question? Who do you, this is an organized effort against you.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is not organic. Who was organizing it? Do you know?
I have some theories.
But you don't actually.
It was the College of the Wizards, dude. Tucker, I'm glad that you brought me on so I can finally tell the world what they need to hear. It's the College of the Winter Wizards, bro. They control everything, don't you know?
No, for sure.
I know the motivations. Every time I think I know for sure, it switches a little. So now I try to not. It's not because I'm like worried to say, I can't really figure it out. It's almost like a swarm.
Yes.
It's like a behavior where they're signaling. That sounds even crazier, but
no, I've seen it. No,
yeah, it's like a behavior, like a fractal.
Yes.
And there's no one really in charge.
Right. It's like a conspiracy of like-minded temperament.
Because like from my background, I'm like, who did this to me?
Yes.
There's no one there. Because who would really do that? It's like a collective evil.
Yes.
And everyone's just doing their little thing with their behavior, and it's all based on these spells.
Yeah, and if you were a Christian, you would know that it's because of the spirit of that evil. It is a slavery to our passions and to our sin, which essentially makes us a slave to the devil. It's not, and in that way, he is kind of hitting on something true.
And so it took me a little while to figure that out, because at first I'm like, it's the Democrats. And then it's like, oh, it's the this, it's the that. I went through the Muslim thing, all the Muslims.
Yeah. China. It's CCP.
China. Oh, yeah, man. It's these damn Chinese people. It made my phone. I'm like.
And that is like a question that we all have if you are like me, like in the conspiracy world and stuff. And, you do the, what does Jim Bob call it? All the folders, right? You go down all the rabbit holes and you're like, man, it's like there's all these plots and plans, but then when you zoom out the scope and you're looking all over the place, you're like, man, this stuff keeps popping up, even when you know that it's very unlikely that there's any connection there, and it's because of the spirit that drives it. It's not necessarily a college of wizards above the world. It is literally that is the devil, the demons, and the spirits that we become slaves to.
All these contradictions. And then I realized, it's like, it's the Jews, but I know this cool Jew, right? And then I had to come up with a term called deli Jews. The one that take all the blame, even though they're like nice and they're just kind of complaining about their broken air conditioner. I'm like, who is it? And then I'm like, it's a behavior, it's a spirit. It got me much more like actually faithful.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because I was like, I don't have.
Faithful to what, though, is really the big question. Faithful to what? Because he does what so many people do. He takes what he wants from the Christian faith. He takes what he wants from the Bible, but he doesn't want to actually submit. He doesn't want to sacrifice his pride and his ego. And so he's going to use his own discernment to try to figure out what's good in Christianity, what's good in Islam. I'm going to just pick and choose. And he sees that as like a virtue. He sees that as something good. It's not, actually. It's not, because it just so happens that Christianity's true. If Christianity wasn't true, if it was just a man-made religion, then that would be a good thing to do. Yeah, take the good from it. I'm sure there's good everywhere. It's like we were talking about in the beginning of the show, how, Protestants will think that you're saying that there are no good Protestants when you critique the actual system. It's like, nobody's saying that. There's plenty of Protestants and Roman Catholics who are better people than me, who have done more in their life and, who have more virtue and things like that. That's not the question being asked, right? The question being asked is it true? Is the actual teaching true?
Conventional ways of describing this. So then I start working with more the traditional conservative types.
Are you melting down emotionally at this point? I mean, you moved to LA from upstate New York.
I have a huge chip on my shoulder, and I'm very defensive.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm like, looking back, the things that I would change, I don't want to change anything because it all led to this, to that, to that. But like, if it was me now, I would know that I wasn't in the danger I thought I was, and people weren't actually as threatening. Because I would see people as like a threat to me, like you're trying to destroy me.
Yes.
And so I would react.
Oh, I've been there.
I would react emotionally and react more like personally. And now I'm just like, dude, that's when the power of forgiveness stuff is so real, where you're like, oh man, like that sucks where you're at,
Yes.
And so that was me melting down, where it was like emotional.
Yes.
But looking back, I'm never like, we have to kill people or none of that stuff. Like zero. I wasn't like, I was actually getting less into alcohol. Like it was like, because I felt like it was a weakness.
Homeboy literally made death threats to Jay, dude.
Like, because the Hollywood in my hometown, like the culture is just, you just drink to land the plane, you know?
Yeah.
And now I'm doing these live streams and I realized that because I was always like a happy drink guy. Like I wasn't the dark drinker guy.
Yeah.
I was always like, my first special was called High Five Till It Hurts, right? I was that guy.
Yeah.
But like I could tell that it would make me a little less aware of what I'm doing and that I
Bill Hicks in the house. What's up, homie? Good to
could
see
feel
you.
like shame after from like going off too hard on someone. They could like use that emotion. And so I actually my personal life is getting better, which was crazy. But it looks like I'm losing everything at the same time. And so now I'm on like this genuine truth journey and I'm really thinking about, did I lose Jester's privilege because I took the trans thing so seriously? But now I'm taking a lot of time, like, guys, like family as well. Like this is crazy the way this is going. I see, the Sackler family, I call it. I got a strike for hate speech because of that.
The Sackler.
I hope he keeps going, man. I mean, he's stumbling upon some true things, right? He mentioned the spirits. He mentioned forgiveness. Glory to God. I hope nothing but the best for him, dude. I hope he keeps going. But, obviously, I mean, we're not going to go over the whole history of Owen and our little neck of the woods over here in the orthosphere, but just the unwillingness to engage in a good faith dialogue about the things that he's not correct on, like the Trinity. Very frustrating, very sad to see, and you can always pray and hope that he's going to eventually come smack to face with the undeniable truth. We're literally the same person, Tucker to Owen. Yeah, Jason, that's what Tucker always does, dude. He could literally be sitting next to somebody who's like a demon worshiper in everything except the title. Like a demon worshiper who calls himself Christian and uses like Christian accoutrement to dress himself up. And Tucker's like, yeah, dude, yes, you're speaking my language right now. Like, bro, come on, dude, come on. Power of forgiveness, says Bill. How about the power of apologizing? No, 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 no. You can forgive the wrongs that other people do. You can never acknowledge the wrongs that you do because that's scary. That's too scary. I would, but I just have never been wrong. You know what I mean? I thought I was wrong once, but I was mistaken. So goofy, dude.
Who owned Purdue Pharma?
Right, back then before the Netflix special, people didn't know, because I'm the who guy. Who's doing it? And my friend, that vet I told you about died. And it was like so sad.
How?
Opiates, despair. Despair is the sin. Despair is, that's why like there's people I'll go at. I'm like, if you spread despair, you're basically poisoning people, And so
that is such a wise thing. I've done a lot of.
That's true. But you also shouldn't spread the source of despair, which is the lack of a connection to God, Jesus Christ.
Despair spreading, and I regret it.
Me too. Yeah, but see, telling the truth can come off as despair, but it's still good. Like I like when you do the stuff about who's doing what and what's going on.
Yeah, but I think it can be too much. I mean, it bums me out. So we're commanded not to despair.
Exactly,
not to fear.
exactly. There's that's when like
and
that.
That's why having the proper framework is so helpful. Because see, as an Orthodox Christian, right, we know not to like stare into the void, not to focus on all the evils in the world. But when we encounter the evil in the world, right, or if we just take an analytical look at an event that happens, right, and identify it, not only can we see it in its proper context and understand how it fits in the larger framework of life in general, you can point out and say, okay, I see the sin here. I see the thing that goes contrary to the commandments here, right? You can understand things. You just get so much discernment and so much of a clear view through the Orthodox Christian lens. It is honestly like been such a good thing for me because I've been involved in politics or having political opinions and thinking about this stuff and following politics since I was a young kid because my dad was involved in politics, and so he showed me like AJ and stuff when I was like 11, 12 years old. Like I've just always been sort of aware of the conspiracy stuff and always like to go down the rabbit holes about geoengineering and freaking chemtrails and all these different things, right? And without that proper understanding of Christianity and the problems in here, it really is just a thing that creates despair and confusion. And it makes you so confused. You're like, I don't understand why when I look into the world, I see the Hillary Clintons and the, what's that guy's name? The Podestas. I see all of this like obvious on its face evil. Why do they have all the power, dude? Why do they have all the money? Like, what is this? Why is this world that we live in where when we look up at the leaders, at the elites, they're so evil? And then when I look to my neighbor who's got like a wife and kids and is like a plumber, he's like got virtue and is like a good dude. Like, what? This doesn't make any sense to me. And this sort of question is what pushed me into some really dark places in my life before being a Christian. I mean, this is the stuff that primed me for occultism and witchcraft, because you have people like Mark Passio out there who's like, you know why it's like that? Because those people up there, they know the secret wisdom. They know the magic. They know the occult power. And they're trying to keep you from it. And so what you need to do is study Hermeticism and Kabbalah, and that will give you all that power that they have, and you can fight back against the wizards. No, no. So it is such a blessing when you finally discover the fullness of the Christian faith so that you can make sense of the evil in the world. You don't have to dwell on it and go down the rabbit holes. You can literally stay ignorant of it if you want and just focus on Christ and the good things. And then when in your life you encounter evil, you have a friend who's addicted to opiates or whatever. You have a friend that's drinking every night and stuff. You know exactly what the problem is. You can identify, okay, this is the problem, dude. Here's what you have to do to solve it. And this is why we call the church the hospital for souls, right? The hospital for sinners. Because the church can identify the problem like a doctor, can diagnose the problem, and then give the medicine that heals. This is why I've spent 7 years screaming from the rooftops, go to the Orthodox Church. That's literally the answer. You don't have to become a scholar of church history. You don't have to read any books. You can literally just go to the church, attend the services, do your prayer rule, and you will have access to the fullness of truth, which is that relationship, that direct relationship with Jesus Christ through the church. It's amazing. Randy, good to see you, homie. He says, when are you doing a show with Tony, EPL? How did you know, dude? How did you know? It's it's funny, dude. Somebody asked me the other day. He said, Jerry, why don't you do the interviews anymore? And I said, I never said I wasn't doing interviews anymore. He's like, yeah, you haven't done them in forever. I said, well, I did the interviews with the people that I wanted to, right? I met all the people and had them on the shows that I wanted to. And there's always new people showing up, on YouTube. There's always new people doing shows and creating channels. And there just really wasn't anybody new that I like. No smoke to anybody, right? No hate to anybody, but like there just wasn't anybody I was like super interested or excited in having on. And of course, back when I would do the interviews, I was younger in the faith and I was more there was a bunch of questions I wanted to ask and things like that. And I'm at a different spot in my journey, my spiritual journey, than I was then. But there is an exception to that, which is Tony. I honestly wanted to have Tony on for a while. I haven't reached out to him yet. I will eventually one of these days down the road. But Tony is one of the guys that, out of all of the people who have appeared in the last few years or whatever, Tony's my favorite of the new guys. He reminds me of a funnier and more talented version of myself. Like I relate to his perspective a lot. And so that's why, much love to Tony, much love to the Ortho Thugs. It's very rare that there's like a new Orthodox channel that I'm like, yes, dude, yes. But Tony gets the EPL seal of approval from me, dude, for whatever that's worth, because I love it, man.
Principle, like those fundamentals kick in where there's been times I'm like, but I know like despair is a sin. Like that's like spitting in the face of a gift, right?
Yes.
And it's like, because that's how I feel about suicide. I'm like, that's the greatest, like, that's so awful. It's like you're created, you're given all of this and you're just getting rid of it. Like it's like someone, like your wife making you a beautiful dinner and you're just like that'd be insane.
It's the same impulse though.
Yeah.
So you get mad and you smash something.
Smash something. Yeah, you're like, I don't want it. It's like, no, it's a gift. It's beautiful. And that comes from like shame and all this stuff, So I'm figuring all this stuff out. And then, because the trans kid thing was why a lot of these neocon types gravitated towards me. And then I was like, guys, you're never going to guess where the pharmaceutical company is. It's this little country called Israel, right? And they're like, yeah, it doesn't really matter where it is. And I'm like, what's going on, guys? Because I didn't even know what the deal was. I'm like, who cares? It's like, why does that matter? Like, we can't talk about that. And then I'm like, oh, you guys have your own little spells you're doing.
Cost of living is already making it hard to live here, and it's not getting any better. Unfortunately, it's likely to get worse.
Tucky, dude, what's with all the ads, man, making me skip through? Come on, Tucky.
I can't do comedy without truth. Like, I would lose the tether to my job.
Yes.
Like even without, I was never like, look at me, I'm saving the children. Like I was like, if I don't stay in reality, I can't bounce the joke off of anything and I will crumble and be.
I don't think Owen's been in reality for at least a solid 6 or 7 years, dude. I think he was probably closer to reality before he ended up cementing his deranged beliefs. Like, at least when he was confused and floating around, there was the opportunity for him to stumble upon the truth, right? Now he's just like, he's so cemented in his decision that the Trinity is not true that it's like, good luck, bro. Good luck. Yeah, Jetski's a little bit. Jetski's a little bit of a hermit, dude, and that's why we love him. He's our resident Ewok, bro.
Humiliated.
Yes, that's true.
I've seen it over and over again. That's why you got to stay grounded because like fame and money, it's just energy, right? It's not good or bad. It's just energy. And if you don't ground that, like people go absolutely insane. It's like,
You've seen that
over and over and over again in Hollywood. Like you'll see these funny comics. They'll get these huge amounts of money. They get in debt. That's like the major.
Speaking of Tony, actually, that I'm glad you brought it up too, because the last time I hopped into one of Tony's chats was when he was talking about Trump, and I was like spurging out in the chat a little bit. I was like, "Come on, there's nuance here, bro." Just spurging out. I'm like, it's been a long time since I spurged out in a chat before, because I'm sitting there and I'm like, I agree with everything he said. Okay, we're gonna get derailed. I'm gonna totally get derailed on a different topic, but I'm like, I agree with everything you're saying, but also I had Venezuelan drug dealers on my corner up until the day of the inauguration, so like I can't be mad at that. I put so much effort, dude, during the election. I put in so much effort to come to the audience and to present the argument of like, look, we all hate Trump. We know Trump sucks. We know that Trump is not our friend. He's not going to save the country. The GOP is evil. Our whole politics is awful and terrible. But there is a serious, serious problem right now. I live in the communist state of New York. I am living directly encountering and experiencing this awful evil that's going on now. I'm begging you, please, let's do something about this, please. And as soon as the election was over, I stopped following politics because there's just no point. And so, just like what Tony was saying, there's no worldly solution. That's been our message for 7 years now. Don't fricking get sucked into the political rabbit hole. Don't fricking put all of your trust and hope in the GOP because they're not your friend. And they're all controlled by Israel, as we all have been forced to acknowledge because it's just undeniable. It is what it is, dude. But I pray every day that our country can be okay, that things can work, that somehow God's going to draw us through this insane situation that we're in, and we can have peace and prosperity. But it don't look like it, yo. It don't look like it, man. It looks like we're headed for some really rough times in America. May God protect us, and hopefully y'all are doing your prayer rules every day and praying for this country because we need it. We need it real bad.
Thing. And then that's what makes them a slave. Because,
Wait, they get a huge amount of money, but they also get in debt?
Exactly. Like let's say you get $1 million. They would get like a $8 million house with the mortgage. And so then they feel they have to go along with all these evil things or else they'll lose everything. Because I kept seeing it because I'm like, I know they're not wicked. There's a difference between sin and wickedness, like weakness, which we all have.
No, that is wicked, though. Oh, and that is wicked. When you are confronted with evil, if you don't say anything about it, that is evil. That is wicked. If you're a good person and there is some horrible evil happening and you go, well, I need my money, I need my comfort, I need my position and my status, that is evil. Again, you would know this if you were Christian, if you didn't reject the Trinity and all of the things that we have been given through the apostles.
Cookies, emotions.
I'm with you.
Yeah, totally.
Cookies and emotions, actually, nicely put.
Yeah, and like wickedness is the hatred of beauty, like wanting to destroy innocence, blow up a dome, right? Like that's wicked, where you're like, you hate God. Versus like, man, I got hammered and just freaked out again. That's different because you know what is true and false.
Yes.
So to lose the tether of what is true and false is to like go, it's like the callus, like we don't feel the spirit anymore. And that to me was my nightmare. So I'm like, I can't do that. So that's why.
And here comes the delusion in the pre-list, dude. It's like, oh, I just have it, dude. I can just tell just by looking at it, true or false, dude. I'm just that smart.
Left my brother's town because I do this big special. Everyone's pumped. All the locals are like, man, this is epic. We can do comedy right here. But it was like 900 people in the town. My special had like 1,000. So that's very intimidating to local principalities, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, guys, I don't. And so one lady wanted me to apologize for a joke and I wouldn't do it. And people are like, my brother's friends are like, come on, man, just apologize. Like, and I get it. Like when you're like an alpha male in a region, it's like, come on.
It is wild how strong delusion can be, dude. It is wild. Without repentance, without a sincere repentance and a fighting of your spiritual warfare, like you have no hope of actually coming to a place of the ability to discern some of the more complicated things in life, right? I mean, it's crazy, dude. You can be so sure that you're right about something. I'm sure we've all experienced this, especially before being Orthodox. We're like, you're sure about something. And it was just one little piece of information that you lacked that completely crumbles your entire worldview, completely crumbles your entire position on the subject. And you're just so sure. And without that humility that Christ teaches us to receive, without the humility to say, do I am I right? Is there something I don't know? I better analyze my assumptions. I better go back to the drawing board. Here's my idea. Here's my, hypothesis. Now let's look for anything that can contradict it. Anything, let's go to all the smartest people who disagree with me and let's hear what they have to say in case there's any holes in my argument. This is what's been so great about debate. This is why I was brought to the church from the debate community, because it taught me to have that humility and to hear out the smart people who disagree with me so that I can see if what I believe is actually true or if it's just delusion. I mean, I could talk at length for hours about all of the good things that Christianity gives you, specifically Orthodox Christianity. It's why we've been doing what we're doing, man.
Like, keep everyone happy.
Of course.
And I totally understand that. I'm like, guys, I can't apologize though, because I'm not sorry. And I'm like, I'm not stubborn. Like, I'll roll with anything, but like, then my apology doesn't mean anything, and I need that.
Yes.
Like, if I apologize, I am sorry, which I do. But if I'm not sorry, then that's a form of usury, and then it doesn't mean anything, right? Like, I love that I can tell my wife I'm sorry, and she knows. Like, if she doesn't believe me, then my life spirals, And so,
yes.
And so at that point, so we had to leave that town, and it was more just like a mercy. I'm like, this can't really work, because I was like affecting, my brother's life, and so we went to where my wife's family is, and so that worked out better, because at that
What is your wife saying at this point? So she marries you. You're this on the rise, successful Hollywood guy.
Yeah.
She has your baby, and you get canceled, and then you're on your third down.
Yeah, well, that's when you realize your wife loves you.
Yes.
Because you never really know as things are going up.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah, it's the same with debt. It's like, was it Warren Buffett or something? When the tide goes out, you see he's wearing their underpants.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so at that point, I'm like, wow, you really do love me, right? Because she's ride or die. I mean, she'll get like, if she's upset, it's because of something real, right?
Yes.
Like, because I'm bringing my outdoor friends inside with a lot of PTSD, right? So, and it's because they're like yelling at 2 a.m. It's not, you know what I mean? And so that's totally understandable. That's why we came up with outdoor friends.
Outdoor friends.
Because I'm hanging out with like a ton of vets at this point, right? And they're great guys, but like, wild swings.
Oh yeah.
And that's when I saw like a psychic wound, like a moral wound, what that looks like, where at one moment you're like, we have to like turn the Middle East to glass. Like, they're proud of their skill. And then on another moment, it's like, man, they're like just like us. They like have families, and that chasm causes so much pain.
Yes,
and
it does.
And dude, that's where like forgiveness is so important.
And you see them ping-ponging back and forth.
That's the pain, right? That's why I would like make fun of vets and non-vets. A lot of these, people in NGOs and are like, how dare you attack our vets? I'm like, they're finally laughing.
Yeah.
Because I would do this thing on Veterans Day. I'd be like, haven't you guys had enough? I'm like, we give you so much. I'm like, if you really left it on the field, it would be Memorial Day. And they're just laughing because they get idolized by the people starting the wars.
Exactly.
Right? And I know that
in the most false way.
Yeah, and that's me as a comedian. Anytime people are like, man, you're like so awesome. I'm like, I'm not. I'm good at this one thing, but I have a spotlight, so you think that, but please don't treat me like that. Like, I'm not an idol. Because that's a form of punishment too, the pit and the pedestal. Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that the pedestal is torturous,
You don't allow any flattery in your vicinity.
Exactly.
Ever. When the Pharisees come, when they're about to kill Jesus, the trick is they go there like, you're such a good guy. You only tell the truth. Like, they flatter him.
Yeah. I mean, people tell me, you're the reason I had a kid. I'm like, I know all praise to God. That's a protection.
Yes.
Because if you're the reason for the good, you're also the reason for the bad.
Fair.
And it's like, we're not gods, right? So it's like, that's the road. Like, that's a horrifying road. And so many people, like, narcissism is that. It's like truth comes from their emotions. And that's why you're seeing so much lying now.
Can you explain that a little more fully?
Yeah. Like, my motto is I might be wrong, but I'm not lying.
Yes. That's my motto also, actually. I love that.
Dude, one of the most amazing things I saw you do, and this is not flattery, this is just a fact, is when you said you were wrong about the Iraq war.
Yeah.
Because it's rare though. That establishes truth is outside of you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's rare. A lot of people, they're like, I might be lying, but I'm not wrong. Right? Yes. They're like, oh no, it turns out that was all wrong, but I was still right because it's me. Like, I saw that in physics, because I had a physics podcast at California.
I'm so like unaware of Owen. I haven't listened to him in so long. I don't know where he's at. Like, has he gone full Muslim? Is he still running around like, no, I'm a Christian, I just don't believe in the Trinity? Like, his views evolved at all? That's kind of what I was hoping he was going to get into. I'm kind of curious. Like, where are we now in the Owen spiritual journey?
Tech with my buddy who's a nuclear physicist. And dark matter, I couldn't stop laughing when I realized it. So they have these gravitational equations, and when it wasn't matching anything, they said, oh, there's dark matter. And I'm like, what's that? They're like, 95% of the universe you can't see or measure, and it's like most of the gravity. And I'm like, how do you know it exists? They're like, I swear to God. They're like, because if not, we'd be wrong. And I'm like, so you can't measure it? They're like, No, dark matter, but it's there. I'm like, how do you know? They're like, because if not, then this is wrong. Like Vox Day published that. He did a book of breaking down the math of evolution is so bad because he's like one of those super geniuses. Vox is a great guy. And
bro, dude, how long is he going to freaking keep? I'm trying to think of a non-gross way of saying it. Just, dude, his thing with Vox Day, bro, it's been going on for 8 years, dude. Their bromance is just so nasty.
so bad.
Dude, this guy, he's just like, bro, he's just a genius, dude. Oh my gosh, dude. Vox Day and Crow 777, dude. They're just geniuses, dude. Dude, they're alphas. They're alphas. I'm okay with being a beta. I'm cool, dude, or a Bravo. I'm good with being a Bravo, dude. I'm like the second in command, dude. I'm the Bravo. I'm not a beta. I'm a Bravo. But Vox Day, dude, he's like a full alpha, and I'm his number 2. I'm like, you got this, bro. I got your back. But Jay Dyer, he's a gamma. He's just one of those gammas. And he's got the freaking thousands of little lemmings in his chat. Yeah, Jay Dyer, a gamma, yeah. Oh, do you disagree with Owen? You must be a gamma. You must be a little gamma because you disagree with Big Bear.
Like the actual math of it, like how, just read the book. Probability 0. It's like how long would it take for things to permeate?
Ball washing. Thank you, slow boy. Perfect. I wanted to say glazing, but I was like, I don't want to say that. Ball washing. That works.
Like a mutation permeate to the actual population. And when you see how completely ridiculous it is, I think they have trauma where they're like, well, it can't be that, or else like I put a square on my head and brag to everyone and my life is a lie, right? Like the guy that changed your oil is actually smarter than you. Right?
Oh, yes.
Well, that's when the shame kicks in where they're like, I called all these people deplorable mouth breeders. I tried to eliminate their population. And it turns out like they're way better at things.
Yes.
When I found that out, I was like, wow, these guys are great, right? It's like, that's the difference. It's like, you might feel some pain of pride. We have to make some phone calls, right? Because I've been wrong about a million things.
Me too.
But it's like, I like being wrong because I'm like, oh, it's usually better than I thought.
You could say that again, dude. Oh, I like being wrong, but you were proven wrong in the debate, dude. You were proven wrong in the debate. You had yourself, your little fanny, spanked live on air in front of millions of people. And did you, in humility, say, wow, clearly I don't know what I'm talking about with the Trinity. Maybe I should, reassess. No, you threw a temper tantrum and frickin' just flew off the rails, bro.
Always.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's such a burden lifted.
Oh,
because you don't have to pretend.
I hate when it's out. Yeah, because when something's wrong out there, it's like rippling out. And I'm trying to help people not ripple it out, right? It's almost like a disease.
Yes. And you're stopping the spread.
Yeah, it's stopping the spread. Safe and effective.
Which is another claim that they couldn't walk back because their pride hung on it.
Imagine, but the spell is safe for who and effective at what?
Yeah, exactly. No,
yeah, the assumptions is how they get, the more honor-based Anglo-Saxon Germanic type cultures. Yeah. It's like, well, it can't be that. No one's that crazy, right?
Right.
We don't like ask the follow-up question.
It's
like,
too dark.
It's too dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the chutzpah culture, which can be very funny, where it's like, you'll never guess this loophole I figured out.
Yeah.
We can redefine a word and get all these free pencils.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but that's like the way I like to describe it is there's 2 ways to win a race. You either run faster or you get the other guy slower.
Yeah.
Right? It's like my house is now nice because I blew up the pretty house.
Yeah. So most people don't wake up in the morning and decide to feel horrible.
What? How does blowing up the pretty house make your house nicer? Like, I get what he's trying to say, but that freaking metaphor didn't work there. Your metaphor's kind of lacking there, Big Bear.
The peasants are given cows, and the first thing you do is you go kill your neighbor's cow.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a behavior. That's why I don't isolate it to one identity. That's why I say like grabbler or something.
Yeah.
Because I see it in all populations.
Yes.
I actually think it's a trap to say that like all evil disseminates from one group. That's like one of the classics, the identity trap.
Yes.
Because I see that with like a lot of the white guy stuff. I'm like, no, I don't want to be defined by like we need more of an arbitrary thing, but we're still just going for greatness. It's like, right? Like I see that with like, yeah, it's of course, but so many people are falling for this. It's like, oh no, we just have to get all whites. I'm like, no, we need all competent, good, moral. And if there's more of one group, that's fine. Right?
Of course. Well, it's absurd. It's exculpatory. That's why people love it. Because it's like, I'm on the winning team no matter what.
And I was telling that to one of my, like, I have an Israeli listener and we were laughing because I'm like, you guys remind me of American Indian tribes I grew up with where it's like our nation, right or wrong. I'm like, that doesn't go well.
No, it doesn't.
Because you have to go for greatness or else it becomes very, you can't trust each other. And
you have to go for greatness, but we're going to die though. You can get as jacked and ripped and successful and rich, and you can be the greatest ever, and you're still going to end up in the grave, brother. You're still going to end up in the dirt. I'm pretty sure greatness isn't the goal. Greatness isn't the bullseye we're aiming for.
He was laughing. He's like, it's so true, man. It's like very tribal, I'm like, dude, all the natives I know, they're all like, they're drinking mouthwash, man. They're not doing great.
No, I shouldn't laugh. No,
it's true. I've been across my whole life. Like these are like close friends of mine, some of the best athletes in the world, and then they just start drinking mouthwash. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's despair, right? That's why, yeah, because you can always get out. And so
you wind up with the you're taken in by, when you say the neocons, like news organizations, websites, like
yeah, like the more Daily Wired crowd and
Wow.
Knowles and
Yeah.
Crowder and all those guys. And I still have a soft spot for Knowles. I think it's pretty,
Knowles. I like Knowles.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. It's just the Ben Shapiro's eyebrows really. I mean, it's just been getting a little intense.
Very.
Yeah.
Are those real?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Prosthetic eyebrows. I've never heard of that.
That's some dark trolling.
Yeah. No.
Like imagine just putting. I mean, he never had those eyebrows and now he has them. Like you don't just grow more eyebrows.
No.
Right?
No. And the thickness of them, unless there's like some kind of alopecia or something on that.
Unless someone close to him was putting Rogaine on his eyebrows.
Yeah.
That would be pretty funny though.
No, it wouldn't shock me, but the whole thing is weird.
So weird.
So you wind up in that world.
Yeah. And so, because I was so happy that they were willing to say the things that Hollywood wouldn't say.
Yes, of course.
So,
Me too.
Yeah, like seeing Crowder pray at a meal like blew my mind. I was like, because I was just like so into that gratitude because I love that
Yes.
stuff. Like in Hollywood, I even texted Vaughn this morning about he was the one being like have kids and he made it funny. And that really motivated me, because there's no voices in Hollywood telling people to have kids. It's always get a bigger house, have more sex partners, get a bigger deal, have a better car. And Vince is like, baby, you gotta start making accounts. Stop pulling out like a coward, And I'm like, okay. And then every Father's Day, I'm like, dude, that was so cool you did that.
Really? Vince Vaughn convinced you to have kids?
Yeah, and because it was always there. I like strong paternal leaders. Like
Yo, I love Vince Vaughn. My favorite movie was Brawl on Cell Block 99. That's such a banger film. If you guys haven't seen it, it's so good. Vince Vaughn rules, and it kind of makes me sad that he's friends with Owen Benjamin. No, Vinny, no. This is the same guy that drinks turpentine, says Kicks Against the Pricks. Yeah, exactly. That's actually a good point. We haven't mentioned the turpentine once today, dude. I'm slacking, bro. I'm freaking... Caught me slacking, man.
I'm not this like hyper, it's always me guy. I like teams. I'm real big on like a guy I can look up to.
Yes.
And so that's why in a world without heroes, this swarm hates heroes. They hate inspiration. That's why they don't like architecture, right?
Yes.
Because it makes you feel hope. You're like, oh wow, that's beautiful. Tomorrow will be a better day. They're like, oh, we gotta burn that down.
Slow Boy got up from her freaking early bedtime to just say, I just texted Vince Vaughn this morning. Puke. Yeah, exactly. Got to do the name drop, dude. Guys, it's not a big deal, but I do just happen to be friends with this famous Hollywood actor. I didn't want to mention it, but, I was talking to Vince Vaughn the other day. Nice.
Yeah, literally. And it's sad, right? It's like, that's why it doesn't get me angry now. Cause I'm like, imagine, like I see my kids, they can have like one bouncing ball. They can have so much joy. And I know people, and I'm sure you do too, like on a giant yacht on all these designer drugs being praised and they're thinking about jumping off the yacht.
Yes. I know many people like
and they get, and in their, like, if I was going to defend them, I would say what they're thinking is I've sacrificed so much. I've worked so hard. I've humiliated myself. And that dude on a pontoon boat is so much happier.
Yeah.
Why? Right. And then they get mad at God. And that's why that's that fractal where it's like, God is wrong.
Mojo, I don't know if you're a boy or a girl. If you're a guy, definitely check out Brawl and Cell Block 99. If you're a girl, just maybe be aware that it is sort of more of like I don't want to say it's a dude movie, but like it's called Brawl and Cell Block 99. It's sort of in the style of like the old grindhouse type action movies where it's like Vince Vaughn plays like a solid dude, a good guy, and the whole movie is about like basically him like sacrificing everything for his family and like going into like the depths of hell for like his family. It's really cool. It's a really, really awesome film. I love it. Ever since I first saw it, it was like one of my favorite movies. We did a stream all about the films of S. Craig Zahler, who was the filmmaker of it. Pretty sure that was a Zahler film, the guy that made Bone Tomahawk and Dragged Across Concrete, which is another Vince Vaughn movie. We did do the stream where we sort of went into it, but I highly recommend it, dude. It's a great movie. And that's the movie that made me go, wow, Vince Vaughn rules, dude.
And so once I started realizing that the grand plan is the good plan, all these like little things started not scaring me, And I'll have stresses and all that
little
stuff.
things like being bankrupted.
Yeah, no, and then, like to continue the story. So after that, things got way crazier.
Really?
Yeah.
After you got rescued by the Daily Wire crowd.
Yeah, when I started being like, yeah, because I started seeing that certain identities can be liability shields when you're selling opioids,
Yeah.
And same with the sex abuse stuff in Hollywood. I was pointing out people, and I didn't even put it together. And someone called me an anti-Semite, and I was like, "What do you mean?" That's like, I didn't even think about that. That's why I did a whole tour called Height Supremacist because I was like, I could do that with height, right? Like,
yes.
Oh, only Hail Heitler and stuff. And so that comedy.
You're 6'8", I should say that for people who can't tell.
And so I was like dramatizing that, like I could do that with anything. Like, no, I'm talking about the behavior, right? Like,
we are at 40 minutes. It took 40 minutes for the height to be mentioned. So honestly, I think that's a new record for Owen. You got to give props where it's due. You always got to tip the hat. Owen managed to go 40 minutes and 25 seconds without talking about his height.
Imagine if it's like, oh, you're just mad at 5'10" guys. No, it's a behavior. And so that I get kicked off PayPal. I get kicked off Airbnb. Like in my
Airbnb.
Yeah, because they want to take out your income.
Oh, so you had a rental property?
I had a rental because I'm like I just keep going. Like I'm pretty upbeat. You know, it's like, oh, I can't tour now, so I'll do tree work with my brother and I'll rent out this house and we'll fix it up and we'll learn about construction.
What's up, Crispy Johnson? Yeah, I didn't even know DPH and Cotel. I didn't know that he was streaming, man. I feel bad. It's like, damn, dude. Clontar says, did Tucky pay $400 for this? Dude? You should pay me the $400 for freaking sitting through it, dude. So far, 40 minutes in, it's been kind of boring. I was really hoping it wouldn't be. Come on, Benjamin. Fly off the rails. Do something, please.
And so I got a letter from Airbnb that you know I couldn't be on anymore because I was mocking the victims of sexual assault. The joke was, so the Me Too movement comes out, and I do a joke with dramatic irony where I'm like, yeah, so I'm in LA and I go to one of these parades and I'm like, ladies, you might want to think of a different slogan. And it's like, well, what do you mean? And so I do this long drawn out thing and I'm like, pound me too. And so the whole joke is I think it's a pound sign. And the joke's on me, like I'm the dumb guy, right?
Yeah.
So they said that I was mocking victims. And I'm like, no, they're laughing because this Me Too thing is like using them for their agenda.
Exactly.
Like I'm making fun of the wizard. And the wizards are the ones that get mad. Like the people that hate conspiracy theorists are conspirators. Right? It's so simple. It's like, man,
I'm sorry. I just have to, because I don't know, people watch these on double speed. I want to repeat what you said because it's so worth. The people who hate conspiracy theories are the conspirators.
Yes.
Tucky, we watch it at 1.5 speed, not 2 speed.
That is so good.
It's so true, too.
It
It's like, why else would you hate conspiracy theories? It's like, man, this conspiracy theorist. I'm like, you wouldn't happen to be currently doing a conspiracy, would you?
I don't know why that's never occurred to me. The IQ gap is becoming.
It's not even IQ. I'm just always around kids and animals.
So am I. Well, animals at this point. That's so. So I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you. So
no, I love it.
So how long did you remain in that world, in the Daily Wire adjacent world?
Well, I was like writing for Crowder for a while. And yeah, it was more like they would start getting weird with me when I'd ask questions about why we're not hanging on the moon. I'd love to go up there one day. You know, it's like those things, because I realized that that's their sacred cow. You know, so Hollywood has abortion and all that stuff. And so I'm like, no, it's just, you're tolerant of all that stuff. Like I said, Barack Obama stole my bike. And they're like, oh, that's clearly funny, the laugh, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, but I just did this joke about the size of someone's hat. And now you're offended? I'm like, oh, so you have like a team. I'm like, I almost felt like a Middle Ages executioner where I couldn't live in the village. You know, I'm like, I'm not on any of your teams, man. I can't, because as soon as I do, I will lose the tether. I can't be a comedian.
Yes.
Like the comedian, and I'm not against politics. I understand.
Banhammer says Owen sounds best at 1.25 speed. I find Owen sounds best at 0x speed, switching off to something else, maybe watching Jay or watching DPH, or maybe watching, maybe like get a nice little nature video, you know, with the birds flying through the woods or whatever, the sounds of a babbling brook. Sometimes, honestly, I find watching paint dry to be a little bit better than this.
Institutions, they have to maintain that. They can't be like me. Like I just roam, you know?
Yes.
And so I learned that over the years, where I respect how like, you know, religious institutions, political institutions, they have to maintain their order.
Yes.
I can't be in one of those because of, as soon as I see something, if I don't like do the joke, then I lose I lose the whole thing. And so I'm like, I'm just going to be like in the woods picking up rocks.
But okay, so at what point did you decamp for the woods to pick up rocks?
Well, the whole time I was slowly oh, that's a funny story. So we go to where my wife's family is, and that's much better because I learned the lesson, don't do stand up where you live.
Right. Fair.
Yeah, because I didn't know. I'm like, oh, this will be my job. And now I'm like, the whole thing is family. So I have these kids. I don't want them to be like Owen Benjamin's kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want you to like have great relationships with everybody. And because a lot of times it's not even people that are offended. It's just power freaks people out, you know?
Yes.
Where they just will look at them and be like, you know, how can I, you know, I just wanted them to have their life.
Yeah.
So I just stopped I didn't do any stand up in that area. I will profile and that's great. And then COVID kicks in. Right. And so from the beginning, I mean, I did a joke about Ebola in 2017 where I was like, OJ Simpson's killed more people than Ebola. Like I'm just doing jokes like that.
Yeah.
Just to lower fear. And I'm not a virologist, but I'm like, guys, I have 16 friends that have died of opioids. Can we ease up on the strange African situation? You know, I'm like, despair is killing everyone, but sure, let's watch Outbreak again. Like this is ridiculous. And I know a lot about mind control stuff. And
Tobitology says Dr. Crispy Rothschild brought me here, ? Well, that was your first mistake. Following Crispy anywhere is like a rookie mistake, dude. Dr. Crispy, he's not good for boosters. He's not good for anything. If you follow him down a dark alley, dude, you're taking a risk, bro. You're taking a big risk. I mean, I'm glad you're here. God bless you, brother. We are watching Owen. We're watching Owen. What else can I say, dude? I'm hoping he'll say something that'll make me want to talk. But instead, this is making me want to smash my head against the wall, making me want to sleep.
that's why I wouldn't give 1 inch, you know, with the mask. I wouldn't wear a mask. And again, it's like apologizing for a joke. They're like, just wear the mask. Like, come on. And I'm like, that's the start of it, right? That's the dehumanizing start. And then it's the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, right? It's like that Star Trek episode, like, how many lights? And he has to say the wrong answer. Remember that one?
Of course.
Sorry, Crispy. I'm just a little bit bitter because it's been 2 weeks, bro. I'm still waiting on my booster, dude. You're doing me wrong.
3 lights. And he was about to get rescued and they were trying to create this thing of despair. And so I was like, and in that area where my wife is from was like very bougie type people that was like everyone was wearing a mask, you know, and we had a community of like-minded people and they were falling for all of it.
I gotta go get more coffee, y'all. Let me know if he says anything stupid. I'll be right back in about 7 seconds.
And I'm like, guys, like, you know, because from the beginning, I thought it was to cancel the Olympics. I'm like, maybe it's a debt thing with Japan. Like, I never thought it was a valid thing because of how it was being presented.
Yes.
You know, it's like you get a free vax with donuts. I'm like, that's not a health thing. You know, I'm like, Bill Gates, you don't want to take health advice from a guy who gets awards for lowering the world population.
Yeah, no, fair.
And that's why I got so to platform, because these simple questions just annihilate these spells. Like, you're born gay. I'm like, so there are gay babies? And that alone, I was like, think about there's no gay babies. Like, that's a crazy thought. And so then you're like, oh, maybe it does have to do with like grooming and trauma and all this stuff. And then you start being like, and you don't need to be defined by your sin and then work on it. Like, imagine if I was a cookie, like I'm a cookie guy, right? Like, I can't stop eating the cookies, right? It's like they're saying your sin is good and that's your identity. Like, yeah, because I make fun of.
You should have pride
in it.
The first of the deadly sins.
And I wasn't a hypocrite. Like, when guys talk like that about women, I'm like, that's like, you're like a gay straight guy, right? When it's like, oh, I just got another chick and this chick and this. I'm like, how about you start like a legacy, like children? I'm like, that's not good what you're doing. Like, that's an indulgence, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of gay people privately are like, I like that you're not, because a lot of them are motivated by how hypocritical people can be, where they're like, how dare you, gay guy? But yet they're like, you know, using women for sex as if they're nothing and like throwing them away.
All right, I'm back. Did he say anything interesting, or was it just more inane skull-splitting nonsense?
And all this stuff. And so the fact that I was just like, I had a principle, a lot of gay guys were like, man, I like that you're like that, because they were seeing that they were being used by Target and all this stuff. And so it's so interesting behind the scenes how many people are actually not mad. It's like this illusion.
Yes, I totally agree. I've experienced that my whole life.
Yeah.
Like, they called me a racist for, you know, I don't know, a decade or something, white supremacist. I never had a single black person get up in my face.
Never.
Not one time. In
Never.
an airport, sidewalk, never one time. It was only angry white ladies. It was interesting. And you begin to realize, like, I don't know, I'm not an expert on like black public opinion, but no one's ever, not one time,
that's the
mad.
devil's joke. It's like, I became more racial because of black rooms. Like, I didn't want to talk about race. I want to talk relationships, dogs, piano. Like, I was that guy. And I do Cleveland, 90% black on a Wednesday, where there's like gangsters there. And if I showed weakness, I was dead.
Yeah.
So like, I learned that. And then I learned like the humor. Like, if you make, like, I made fun of gangbangers for having diamond earrings, calling them princesses. They're dying laughing. We hang out after. They're telling me white people are created on an island. And so we're like laughing, right? Like,
oh yeah, Crispy's the man, dude. Crispy's always trying to get DPH to raid, dude. Crispy's out in there in the Jim Bob chat, always screaming about EPL raids, man. Crispy's been a raid seeker for me for a long time, and so I was obviously just joking, messing around with Crispy. Crispy Johnson's been, honestly, I think he's been around since the very beginning, since I joined up with I found Dyer when he was at 30K subs, and as long back as I can remember, Crispy's been in the chats. He's literally one of the OGs. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy when we look back at how long this has been rolling. And same with Slowboy, same with Jethro, same with Henley. Like, there's a lot of OGs that are just in the chat that nobody knows. Nobody knows the history. Nobody knows the lore. But Crispy's always been a solid dude, and everybody loves him.
Nothing there. And then these like white ladies are like, oh, how dare you? Like, they're actually dehumanizing black people. They're like, they don't understand jokes. They're like, you give them a banana and a pat on the head. No, it's so crazy. And I thought I was going crazy. I'm like,
they don't understand. They literally
act
can't
like
have
that.
driver's licenses. This is too complicated.
Oh, they don't understand layers. They're simple people. Give them a rhythm. Yeah, because you're robbing them of it. And dude, a lot of black comedy is the funniest because it's like, it's got that honor aggression to it.
Yeah. Wait, can we define that, honor aggression?
Yeah, like you're attacking weaknesses in others versus like attacking beauty. Right. You know, it's like, oh, look at this dude. And then you're just like, you know, like, who do you think you are with these pants type thing, right? Because you're attacking vanity.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I relate to that. That's why I would relate to some like Middle Eastern culture, because it's a Bedouin thing. Same with Scottish people are like that too.
Exactly.
Right.
You've named some of the cultures I feel most comfortable with.
Yeah. It's because it's like your herd will travel. So you have to carry yourself properly everywhere you go versus just a square that like daddy manages. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Because like, that's how herding cultures survive. It's like your honor, your word allows, or else it's constant war. You know?
Yes. That's
why like comedians have to have honor culture, because we travel and it's like, you have to have your word with the new people or else you'll not be able to make them laugh.
Huh.
And so, yeah, I just get out of El Paso. I'm like making fun of Hispanic crowds. I'm doing that. And then I'm just getting these lectures from these ivory tower buffoons. And so my thing was not just yelling.
I'm going through the chapters here to see what we're up against, because I'm really starting to check out, y'all. I'm starting to debate in my head whether I'm going to tap out or not. The Daily Wire, yeah, that's what we're listening to now. Losing Everything, Illusion, and Nick Fuentes. How is Owen still reaching people after being canceled? Vulgarity, honor culture, and prayer. Ooh. All right, I'm not going to check out yet. I'm not going to tap out yet, but I'm circling the drain.
Yelling at them, you know, because I would be like, you're so wrong. It's infuriating. You know what I mean? It's like saying that this is an elephant. You know, it's like hiring a mechanic and then lecturing them and then your car explodes and then blaming them and then kicking them off YouTube because your car exploded. Like, it's like, what? And so this whole time I have to keep building alternatives because I'm now off PayPal. So now they're like, oh, why don't you just rent your own theater if you don't have CAA anymore? I'm like, great idea. And I'll just sell tickets myself. PayPal kicks me off. I'm like,
Banhammer says he is so proud of this interview. I haven't seen it until now. None of us have, dude. That's why I'm watching it. I know I'm forcing everybody to watch this thing that none of us wanted to watch, but I was hoping it would be cringe. It's just been boring.
And that's why they had to get me off Twitter and stuff first, because I couldn't tell, like, they didn't want me to be able to tell the villagers.
So, I mean, I've seen this happen to other people, not really as comprehensively as it happened to you.
No, because my audience was so big and I was so early that they were like, this has to stop, like, immediately. Because I wasn't political. I was like a child being like, wait a minute, you know? And they're like, that's the thing that actually can dismantle stuff. Because if you come from a tribe, people can just assume you're just doing it because blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it was like almost impossible with me. They're like, you're just doing it for clicks. I'm like, I can't even get clicks. Right? I'm like, I'm not on YouTube. And that's why it always backfires. Because they kicked me off YouTube like years ago. Now I probably wouldn't even they've like opened it up more, you know?
Are you not on YouTube?
Still not on YouTube. Yeah, I did my own ladle.tv, $9.11 a month. Never forget. No, because I had to. They're like, went down roads where I was getting kicked off server farms and stuff. And that's
Were you calling for violence?
Never once. No, like they would put in writing, like it was the Me Too joke. That's why they stopped even saying what it was, because it would be so obvious. Like Barack Obama stole, or another one was, David Hogg can't tell me not to have guns. He can't grow pubes. They said I was sexualizing a child, and that was what I got banned from Twitter for.
Meanwhile, that child was trying to change federal law.
Well, yeah, because I know liability shields. They're like, they use children to try and do their thing and say, you can't attack a child. I'm like, and my whole thing was, you're not a man. Like, you can't grow. If I'd said chest hair, they would have said I was sexualizing a chest hair. Like, they have to just demonize. And so my whole thing was like, why are people believing this? And it's because they just they were dependent, right? They just didn't want to lose that drip.
Yes.
And so that's why I think guys like us have been kind of set free.
Oh, yes.
It was like, don't throw me in the briar patch, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and I didn't know it at the time, but like, I realized that I didn't lose everything, you know? It's like an illusion. And so then it became like, don't let anyone.
But you actually did lose everything. You lost everything.
In their world. I got kicked out of a gay bar.
Yeah.
Imagine it's like, oh, you can't be at our gay bar anymore. And I'm like, but that's the only bar I know.
And that's the one that stings, dude. That's the one that really gets him. He lays awake at night just staring at the ceiling like, oh, those bastards. Why won't they let me in the gay bar?
I mean, I'm not pumped everyone's gay, but that's my, Johnny's in the corner in the jukebox, Wham, I'm not a big fan, but like I'll dance to. And then they kick you out and you're like, oh my God, I can just go somewhere else. I go to another bar where they're not gay and then I realize I don't want to go to a bar. Right? Because that's the trap. That's why the despair. I'm always like, guys, they're doing an illusion. It's wizardry. Like they're not winning because it's the Wizard of Oz. Like it's this big illusion and it's not real, That's why.
How did you? Okay.
So I had to.
Yeah, no, you could have gone crazy.
I love my wife. I love my son. Like I felt duty.
Yeah.
That was it. Because I think about that. I'm like, because that does sound pretty cool. Like that I did that, but it's like, and I'm not that guy. I'm like, not like the guy that's first on TikTok. Right? I'm not that like ambitious with a new thing or anything. Like I can autistically focus on piano scales and comedy. And it was because I couldn't let them down. And that actually gave me a lot of love because I was like,
yeah,
I was a bit.
That's why this interview's been so funny, guys. That's why we've all been dying laughing because he's just autistic with comedy. He's such a good comedian, dude. He's so good at making people laugh. And clearly, I mean, we've all been laughing all interview long.
Nihilistic, never disparage, but I didn't know what I deserved. But my son, I was like, he's good,
Yes.
And then I was like, we were all that, right? And then my life started changing. I was like, I'm not like a virus on the planet. Like I'm not, like we're like stewards of this. Like so many biblical principles I saw in reality happening. I'm like, he's good. Like, and as he kept growing, and then my other sons, I'm like, they don't start bad. I'm like, he's not hurting any. I'm like, and so I'm very protective of others.
Yes.
Way more than myself.
Me too.
And, but I've learned to be more.
Dude, Mello was not lying, bro. This whole interview is me. So I'm like this. So like, I'm like this, and then I do this, and I'm this is how I am. I don't know how you are, but I'm like.
Protective of myself. Like I'm feeding my dog organic food and I'm eating goy slop. It's like, and I'm like, why? I just spent more on my dog's food. I'm like, because I'm the guy that's trying to protect. I'm like, but we're good too. And then I that's what did it. And I am smart and work hard. So like, because I was motivated by love.
It must be exhausting, dude. It's got to be exhausting being the center of your entire world and just like everything only exists in relation to you. You know what I mean? It's got to be tiring, dude. I can't imagine.
Loving them, I could just innovate, because if it wasn't for that, I would just.
But how do you continue to think clearly and not become obsessed with hatred toward the people who are oppressing you?
The community that was forming around me too, like people that I was meeting that were so cool.
Yeah.
You know, like I'd
Oh,
be at these Hollywood parties where everyone's famous.
the community that's made up of cultic yes men who you instantly ban if they contradict you or critique you in even the slightest way. That community that has one head figure as its central pillar, and that may not be critiqued at all, may not be refuted, may not be contradicted. It is Big Bear's world, and everybody's just living in it. Jeff Perry says, "Got to get to a monastery this weekend just to detox from this." Yes, flee to the monastery because this is what the world has to offer, dude. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
And everyone's just trying to find a drug or something, you know? And I'm like, I'm seeing these musicians. I thought music sucked. And I'm meeting these musicians that are awesome. They just are fixing cabinets, or they're like, you know, they're like normal guys, but the art didn't die. And then I realized after being kicked out of theaters and clubs that comedy can exist anywhere. And I was like starting to see that the world's, I'd still get pissed off. The thing that would piss me off the most are despair guys.
Yeah.
Like as I'm trying to help, they're trying to tear me down. Like I'm not just going to go at like a guy for being a sad little gay guy or something. Right? But like if they're trying to, like if I'm trying to like rescue a drowning guy and they're like, he's drowning him, I'm like, you have to stop now. I'm now attacking you. You know?
Were people doing that to you?
Yeah. And I thought it was on just going to be the left with hate speech. And then I'd see people like, and you know, like people like a Nick Fuentes or guys like that. Like they secretly go at people that try to inspire.
Like explain that.
Because people sometimes would wonder, like, why are you attacking him? You know, like, what are you a Jew? Are you a secret Jew? You know, I'm like, no, he's spreading despair. Like he's saying,
Fuentes is.
Yeah, like that having a family's gay, don't work out, you know. And then he would like come at me and like make fun of me for saying get goats and grow a tomato, you know. And I'm like, man, like stop with that because it affects people. Like people that look, because you'll say base things. Like Fuentes will be really funny and like, you know, Jesus and all this stuff. And young kids are dying to hear that.
Yes.
And then he'll be like, yeah, and how hot are like cats? And I'm, you know, and I'm just like, dude. And so that would bother, like that bothers me, right?
Why do you think he does that?
I don't even want to know at this point. I don't know.
But you think it's an intentional, and maybe not just him, others too, but like
it's a behavior. That's what I'm at now is I'm like, I don't know who gives orders. I don't know what it is. It's just like God made a mistake.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's victim consciousness. It's like, I deserve more than I currently have.
Yes.
That's all it is. And it's like, whether it's you want to be taller or less gay. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
no,
you may be right.
Yeah. And that's why in the book, I talk about the primary lies that lead to the rest of the lies. And so like, you're okay who you are. Like God didn't make a mistake is a fundamental.
Yes.
Because that belief allows people to believe all these other horrible things. And so that's one reason I don't have hatred, because everybody, including people that can be annoying to me as I'm trying to do my work, I'm like, you're only doing this because you think you're not enough, but I can't fix you with a funny song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, you're okay, you know, because I'll like do a joke making fun of like short guys getting shot out of a cannon or something, right? And like, there's a type that's like, and I'm like, dude, you're enough, man. I'm trying to release the stress. So I'll do tall jokes. You know, I'll make fun of being tall. And it's like, and trying to help that. And that will usually.
Banhammer says, it took me less than one stream to get banned in Owen's chat. Yeah, dude, how long ago was that? I got banned from Owen's stream because of talking about Jay Dyer, like we talked about in the beginning of the show. This was 8 years ago, and I was like, hey, Jay's kind of cool. What do you think about him? Oh, he's a gamma, blah, 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 blah. And then I said the thing about Crow 777. His chat went nuts, and he banned me. I was like, okay, bro. Okay, dude. Okay.
Help with like insecurities, identity, all that stuff. And it's like, some people are just like, they double down. Or they're like, no, I deserve more. And I would see that in myself. And that's when you really grow, where you're like, I deserve to be on this platform. Like they wronged me. And then I started being like, well, they built it. I didn't build YouTube. You know, it's like I was a guest on there. And I started getting like way more humble than I normally am, because that was how I was surviving, you know? And then I'm like, well, I'm American. I'm gonna use a post office box.
Banhammer says his internet community isn't as bad as Stefan Molyneux's. They cyber stalked me. Really? What? Dude, I saw Stefan Molyneux, you know, many years ago and haven't seen him since, except for he was on Alex's show a little while back. I think maybe even Jay had a conversation with him. So I know nothing about Molyneux or his community. Really? Is it that bad? Randy says, the fact that I'm a former bear is a badge of shame. Dude, Randy, I'm pretty sure I remember when you were. And this is what I said in the beginning of the show. I mentioned in the beginning of the stream how a lot of our homies in the orthosphere started off in the chat, you know, in Owen's chat. Like, I was in Owen's chat and et cetera, et cetera. Like, I can name a bunch of people in the orthosphere who used to be fans of his. I was never a bear. I never was bearified. But I was in the chat. Many of us were in the chat. I'm not going to bear dox anybody, but don't feel bad about it, Randy. There's nothing wrong with watching people, dude. And Owen seemed like a great dude in the beginning, you know? It wasn't until he was stress tested that we saw his true colors.
Right? That's ours. That's our And I got really into the post office.
Come on.
No, that was my sacred cow. Like, when people would make fun of the post office, I'd be like, how dare you? Like, I'm like, rain and sleet and snow, they're delivering them. Because I'd get thousands of letters, right? Because they couldn't censor it. They couldn't censor reality. And so I was like, I'm protecting the post office. And that's so absurd that my sacred cow was, it was like,
Yeah, Tucker. So then I would get drunk in my backyard and yell at people, scream and cry and ban anybody who talked bad about me. It was awesome, dude. It was so
kind of
cool.
funny. But I was like, I'd really get mad if people would attack the post office. I'm like, FedEx has terms and conditions, they can search it.
But the post office is the last pure thing.
Yeah, and it was foundational. It's like, it's so important that people can just write a letter with a cheap stamp. You know, now I communicate with mail. And think about if everything just collapses, which it like has to at this point. I mean, the lies are, it's Tower of Babel.
Yeah, of course.
It's like, imagine if people have, during COVID, I said, no 10 people within 10 miles. I'd give people actionable things. Like, know people, just like know your neighbors, right? Like, know where they live and be able to say hi, like borrow something, work together. Like,
Shouts out to John Doe, sends in a $20 super chat. Didn't send any message, just did a little bit of support. Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate that. God bless you. Always appreciate the support. God bless you, bro. Thank you so much. And yeah, guys, if you want to support the show, if you got anything you want to say, you can say it in the live chat or you can say it with a super chat via Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. All the chat links are in the description. I appreciate y'all so much. I'm suffering. I'm suffering over here. I can't even say I'm suffering for you because none of us wanted to watch this. I'm making us all suffer in the hopes of having something funny to say, which I just haven't, dude. That's why I'm approaching the tap out spot, dude, because sometimes it's so bad it's good, and sometimes it's so mediocre that it's just truly mediocre. And unfortunately, that's what this is.
because one thing I learned about being in rural in the country is people are an asset. Where in the city, like they start thinking, look at all these people, they're crowding everything.
Yes.
People.
Yes, that's
people. And where I live, it's like, yes, a person to help me dig this insane ditch. And then I was like, oh my God, we can make anything. And it was just a very beautiful thing.
So you go from, you're living in your wife's town, her family's town.
Yeah. And then COVID happened and I would like have public, I would try to be funny about it. You know, masks are for criminals and perverts. Which one are you, lady? Like stuff like that. But I didn't want another hostility thing. I'm like, it's my wife's town. Like, I'm not going to be the guy, because I wouldn't ever wear a mask. I'm like, then before you know it, like they figured this out in like camps and stuff. It's like how you break somebody, hop on one foot. Like, let me just put a little patch on your eye. Every yes is closer and closer. That's how sin works, right?
Yes, that is true.
And if I was innocent, it would have been okay. Like people that thought they were scared to wear masks, I don't think it affected them as much, but I knew.
Exactly.
Yes. That's why a lot of people that feel guilt, I'm like, but you didn't know though. I did know. It's a burden sometimes. Where I'm like, I know what the mask is, and I know this psychological thing, and if you didn't, like you thought you were helping people, which is actually fine.
I'm done, dude. We gave it an hour and a half. We gave it an hour and a half, dude. I can't be bothered, bro. I can't be bothered. I'm tapping out. I think I said everything I wanted to say. I think I milked this for as much as it's worth, which wasn't very much. Oh, Lord have mercy, dude. Well, that's it. That's it. I'm done, dude. I'm done. You can't make me watch any more. I haven't seen Owen in so long since the debate. And I think it's safe to say this is the last time we're covering Owen on this channel because unless something big happens, unless he comes to Jesus, unless he sees the light, hopefully this will be the last time we have to talk about this dude. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm glad that everybody came to hang out. It's been fun. It's been fun to see everybody. Been fun to see all the old homies and to sit around and listen to this insane person talk for an hour and a half. I'm mad at myself. I'm mad at myself for even thinking that Owen would be entertaining for a moment. Not even for a moment, dude. If you guys don't know, ZPL, dude. OG ortho bro. Long time ortho bro. Since the olden days with many of our homies. Jane Wax says it's the same old recycled material with him. Exactly. I was hoping it wasn't going to be. I was hoping he was going to be in rare form, and he disappointed. But yes, if you don't know, we like to do streams often where we cover different events or cover different topics or we talk about different subjects. But when we got nothing better to do, sometimes we just listen to old school radio shows and hang out with our friends. So if you guys like what I do, please like and share. And until next time, Lillywalk signing off. God bless. Good night. I'm going to sleep. I hope y'all have a great weekend. Peace out.